He should be very excited that he's got a little over $20 million guaranteed to him for the future. But as a starting quarterback, you can't ever let it be known that you are worried or concerned about your job. However, he needs to be worried and concerned about his job.
Yep.
He's had 3 years where he did an outstanding job of getting them to 2 AFC championships, but what he did was he managed the game. He didn't really make any plays to put them over the top in a position to get to the Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl. He cost them some games, which all quarterbacks will do. Last season, he showed no progression from year 1 to year 2 of being a better, more efficient and effective passer.
Yep.
So openly, Rex Ryan talked about Peyton Manning. He let it be known that if the opportunity came about, he would go for it. When the opportunity came up, they were all in, they tried to go for it, and when it didn't happen, they kissed him on the mouth and gave him a little bit of money. I'm sorry. If it doesn't go good early, and if he doesn't ignore Tim Tebow and handle his business, Tebow's going to get a shot, and with that shot, I think he'll do what he always does. That's like Al Davis says, win, baby, win.
This was a defense mechanism, that's all. It's just a fence that he's putting up against the obvious questions about the obvious scenario. What else is he supposed to say? What else is Mark Sanchez going to say? Yeah, I'm worried that the guy's going to come in here and take my job. They've been trying to get rid of me for the last couple of years. I haven't produced to my ability, and yes, the Jets want to move on. Of course he's not going to say that. So he says what most guys would say in his position, but yeah, he needs to worry. Because clearly, if you've listened to the comments of Rex Ryan, of Tannenbaum, the GM there, they are going to give Tim Tebow every opportunity to get on that field. Okay, they are. And it speaks to what they think, I think, of Mark Sanchez and the job that he's done in New York. He's done a solid job, but he hadn't taken them to that next level. Every year, Rex Ryan says they're going to the Super Bowl. They haven't done that yet. So maybe Rex Ryan and the organization feels like that Tim Tebow is the missing piece. Maybe not a guy that's going to come in there and throw for 300-400 yards a week, but a guy that's going to help them move the chains and get first downs when they couldn't in the past. He better be worried.
I don't think any quarterback has to throw for 300 to 400 yards every week. Very few of them do. The greats, you know, in today's game, Breeze, Rodgers, those guys, Tom Brady, yeah, they have 300-yard games, 400-yard games, but that's not what it's about. It's about progressing the chains. You get 4 downs to move those chains 10 more yards and get into the end zone. And he does that. He doesn't have to be a good quarterback to throw for 400 to 500. That's not the case. I wish people would stop saying that. That's not what it's about.
I'm with you. I like your point about what did we want Mark Sanchez to say? He had to say what he said. But the question becomes, does he believe what he said?
That's another thing.
Or is he just fooling himself? Is he whistling through the graveyard that he's about to walk
Or maybe
through?
trying to talk himself into it. You heard him mention their comeback wins in the playoffs and their body of work since he's been there.
My gut feeling on this is I feel really sorry for Mark Sanchez because I think he's basically a pretty nice young guy, you know, like he just has no idea what Rocky Mountain avalanche of Tebow mania is about to hit him right on top of his head.
None.
Because wait until he gets to minicamp. Wait until training camp opens in July. He will be asked about Tim Tebow every day, talk about the New York media, 100 times a day. He will become sick to death, even before the first game of the year, the first real game, of having to answer questions about Tebow and Tebow mania.
Well, some of his other teammates.
They will, and that creates resentment in the locker room. We saw that in Denver.
We did.
But in this case, look, this will make or break Mark Sanchez, and we've said this from the start. This will be the catalyst, and it's the old cliche about what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. I think that football-wise, this will kill Mark Sanchez.
You do?
Yep, and I just think this is the tip of his iceberg. He's not really accepting what's happening yet. He's a little too cool for it right now. Hey, I'm the quarterback. I got $20 million guaranteed.
It's like he's in denial almost.
Yeah, you have to be, and yet I just think he has no idea until minicamp. That will be his first taste of it, where it will hit him like a sledgehammer what he's fallen into the middle of, and I think it will quickly break him.
Competition brings out the best in real athletes, and maybe this is exactly what Rex Ryan needed, something that would really push him. Several people in that locker room who's not in there anymore talked about how Sanchez didn't have anybody to push him. Yeah. He's got that now. What if he rises to the top and be the biggest baller that he could be? That's a possibility, too, that we're not talking about.
He has ability, obviously.
And the Jets would welcome that. Look, I mean, if that's what ends up happening of all of this, the Jets would be fine with it.
I like that concept. When we brought that up, that concept up before, and talking about Tony Romo. Romo really has nobody to push him. Yeah. And a lot of people feel like that's the reason why he digresses. He knows that if he throws a pick six, that no one's coming in off the bench. So I like the concept. It's just I don't like the guy. I don't like the guy as far as his quarterback skills. How can you take a below average, a slightly below average quarterback in Mark Sanchez and bring in an even lower below average quarterback in Tim Tebow to push that guy? It makes no sense.
Romo is infinitely better than both of the guys that we're talking about. Yep. And if the wishbone or the wing T or the power I works, then run it. All it's about is your offense working and you scoring points.
Do you guys make anything at all out of the fact that, and not that he had to, but that Rex Ryan did not at least go to Mark Sanchez with the idea of bringing in Tebow before he did it?
That talks about how much they think of him.
The Lakers didn't go to Kobe Bryant about bringing in Mike Brown.
No, and Sanchez says, look, that's not my job.
Know your role.
And Ryan said he's the quarterback, not the general manager.
Right.
But sometimes out of a courtesy, you will hear that a team will go to a quarterback particularly.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Gut feeling on my part,
they don't care.
Rex wants Tim Tebow to be his quarterback.
Yeah.
End of story.
So if he ruffles Mark's feathers,
I can't even argue that. I can't even argue that. Based on what I've heard, I can't even argue that.
Good for you, man.
Way to go.
I'm not saying it's right.
You're seeing the light.
But I can't argue that fact that he probably wants Tim Tebow to start.
He's coming to the bright side, not the dark side. He's coming to the bright side.
I totally believe that.